What's up? Welcome back to the Rogues Passage. I'm Tanner Cherry. Another episode talking about the trials for Arc Raiders. This is the start of Season 3. Good luck to you all. I hope you've been having a great time. It's been a chill first week. This was a great episode where I got to invite a couple commenters or people in the Discord that reached out and said that they wanted to come in and have a chat and share their stories. It's pretty chill. There's a large portion of this episode where we just kind of recant stories all the way through Season 2. We talk about the cosmetic rewards and the general design of the trials leading into Season 3, our ideas for reworks, the queue system, just everything, we just kind of, it's a nice little just get together in Discord and free flow ideas and just chat about what we think Season 3 is going to be like. It's kind of interesting. The Season 3 rewards for Cantina, or in general for the trials system, is like much less, sort of lackluster compared to last season. I'm interested to see if we're waiting on an update from Embark Studios in regards to what's happening with this season or not. Anyway, this is a conversation with John Friendship and Jugs about Season 3 of Trials in Arc Raiders. The Discord that I had originally linked, they've, I guess, paired up in collaborative effort with another Trials Discord, with an incredible Trials Discord. I'll link it down in the bottom if you have any aspirations as to jumping in with somebody to find a group to try and nail out a high score on these trials, or even just for guides and information on how to do them well. The Discord is incredible. Shout out to the people that put that together. Anyway, this was just nice, another fun, candid discussion. I'm just chatting. Hope you guys enjoy. See you on the next one. Bye. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Rogues Passage podcast for another episode chatting about Arc Raiders. I'm lucky enough today to be joined by two separate guests that reached out via the comment section and stuff. That feels really good. Thank you guys for being here. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'll go first. What's up, guys? I am in-game. I am John Friendship. Pleased to meet you all, and I've got some things to say about the trial system from last season.
Yeah, and I also have some things to say about the trial system as a solo perspective. But yeah, I'm Jugs, and I guess the TLDR is I probably have about 600 hours into the game. I have two accounts. One's my like casual play with friends account that I don't do the wipes on, and then my main is the one I'm doing all the expeditions and trial pushes on.
Interesting. You've got a second account to just stay top level.
Two accounts, yeah.
Your accounts have accounts. That's crazy. Man, I got like 300 hours logged. All right, we'll be referring to you for most of this then, I guess.
Yeah, I too am about a 300-hour player. I think it was 315 hours or whatever. I started this second or third season, the second expedition. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many of the people that are really hardcore wanting to stick with the trials are like, no, I'm not doing the expeditions because I need to have best gear on week 1. But is that one of the reasons? Do you keep Jugs, do you keep an account that doesn't wipe so that you have access to all that stuff? Is that your trials account?
Oh, no, it's actually not. I guess that is a good point. You could do it, but I guess with the way trials are now, where it actually kind of doesn't matter where you're at until the last half of the season.
Yeah, totally.
You'll probably get all the stuff before you need it anyways. But no, it was primarily especially a way to work around the aggression-based matchmaking stuff, whether you believe it or not, even though the devs say it's not as true as people think and whatever. But it was more or less so I could play with friends, be as aggressive as I want, and not really care about it messing up my solo lobbies on my main. So I don't have to do all the shenanigans to have friendly lobbies to do my trials and resetting all that kind of stuff. So that way I could just have another account that can just be in murder hobo lobbies and not worry about it.
Murder hobo.
My main account can just be chill, and I just log on at the end of the week and do my trials.
Cool. Yeah. So we are. We're recording right now. It's Thursday, week 1 of the trials. I just did the expedition myself on my character, And I just wanted to comment, like, it's such an interestingly chill, like, almost who cares kind of week, because I mean, you can't even get Cantina Legend on this week, I believe. Anybody who would have been demoted down to Daredevil 2. Or sorry, Daredevil
I was in
3.
Hotshot. I'm in Daredevil 2 right now, so they probably do Daredevil 3.
Yeah, maybe it would have been a Daredevil 3, and you can't double promote anyway on the first week. So nobody's like competing for Cantina Legend this week. So probably nobody's putting in the effort to make obscene, ridiculous scores, right? And I noticed, like, in regards to that last week from the previous season, like, holy, it was stressful. People were like, you know, setting aside real life things to try and do these extra runs. And like, even I think in the last episode there, I referenced a video that I watched by, is it SK? Is a content creator that, for the first season. Brilliant video. If you guys are interested in trial stuff, check out the video. And it was like a heartbreaking video, right? Because at the end she was just like, man, like, I think I like set aside going to like somebody's wedding and like, you know, a vacation because I was so invested in this trials run. And then at the end, like, not even being able to get Cantina because I think it was because they pulled the hidden bunker in the week that really mattered, and they just couldn't make the score, and you had to have a double promotion every week. So it was really interesting.
I'm sorry. I do think that specific week, because like that was the first season, right? That's where like everyone was starting off from zero, so you had to hit every single mark. That was like the sweatiest this event will ever be.
Yeah,
like last season, like I did all my expeditions, you know, like that. I really didn't give a fuck about trials. Up until like this last season, where I was like, cool, I've done, like, I've had my fun. I've, like, you know, reached level 75. What's next? And it's like, cool, let's do trials. Let's focus on that. And, you know, it was really easy to get the Hotshot because you can triple promote. Like, there's times where I demoted and still like landed in Hotshot. So I don't think you have to go as hard as they did. But last week, though, you absolutely do.
Yeah. And this season, I think, is going to be the easiest of all. Well, and not only that, I mean, we've got confirmation now that the reward, that we don't have a cosmetic reward for Cantina Legend currently,
really?
Right?
Oh,
in the game,
not yet. It
shows that the torque, the cool, like, MotoGP, almost like Ferrari F1. It says that the red color variant, the Ferrari looking one, is Hotshot, and then the one below that is Daredevil, and then there's Wildcard or whatever. So I don't know if they're going to do, like, if they're going to unveil the fact that there's going to be a Cantina Legend cosmetic reward or reward of any kind other than just, I'd love to hear their thoughts.
Hope so. I would really hope so, because, like, honestly, the last two skins for Cantina Legend, in my humble opinion, were kind of dog shit. Like what was it? What was the last one? I forget the name of it.
It was the Alpino set? Yeah, the Alpino.
Yeah, Alpino set. Like, dude, they gave us like the Abyss set. They gave us like you know, everything else that looks so badass. I mean, say what you want about the Abyss set. I loved it. But the Alpino set, I'm like, I just look kind of like a vagabond, you know? Like, give me something cool. And it was just a different color of that too, which is like pink. Was it pink and brown? Was that the Cantina Legend?
Yeah, Hotshot was the pink and brown.
Oh, okay.
And then the Cantina Legend was the blue and orange.
Okay.
Yeah.
You would have to be so inundated with the trial system to know what that skin even looks like. I can't even pull it up from memory, you know? So it's not even like something you could just show off, like, oh, like that is a completely different skin that I have never seen anyone wear. It's just like, oh, you're wearing a different color of the skin that no one, I mean, not, you know, it's just kind of whatever.
Actually, I do have a story. I do have a story about that. I was in raid on one of my first few raids. I was just farming some Stellamontis stuff because, you know, get seed vault, whatever. And I ran into somebody, and I was walking to extract, and he was like, "Yo, swag, what is that? What is that cosmetic, dude?" And I was like, "This is the Hotshot skin from that we just got, kind of thing, from landing in Hotshot." And he was like, "Oh wait, I landed in Hotshot. Do I have that skin?" And like he landed in Hotshot and just had no idea what the reward was.
Yeah, because it was kind of like a non-reward a little bit, you know.
I feel like you'd have to go like two different ways with it, where it's either like say for instance this season, if they do some secret reveal that like, hey, by the way, like Cantina, you actually get this sick new skin that's actually different from the other ones, or like they either do that where it's like actually a complete standalone skin, or they do it where it's like Expedition, where it's not just a color variant. Like if you noticed Expedition 1 versus 2, you get like all the extra like armor pieces and shit. Like if it was like that, where it's like, oh, Cantina or whatever, like, oh, now you actually have like shoulder pads and fucking different kind of like
Oh,
bandoliers and like ammo pouches and like all this crazy additional like options and not just a skin like color variant like that. I feel like those are like the two directions you'd have to go to really make them like more distinct from it's literally just a different color, because that's, I mean, it's also kind of subjective, because I like I've heard a lot of people say, like I think you guys just mentioned, some people like the hotshot skin color better than the Cantina one for this last
Yeah.
one. So it's like, well, that kind of sucks if that's the case. But to your point, like it's hard to show that distinction, whether it'd be different if like, you know, the exclusive like pre-order was a G Suit or whatever. Like if that was
Yeah.
like a Cantina thing where it's just like, okay, you see it, it's clearly like this unique thing that's special to that, and not
yeah.
just like, oh, it's just a different color tone.
Yeah.
I also think that the Alpino set too is it's just so similar to other skins that are out there. It's just so like it's just bland, you know. It's just
it's
kind
on
of
brand.
It's on. I mean, is it though? Because we've got some like. What really sold me on this game initially was the Forza skin. Like just seeing like an image of that, I was like, whatever is going on here, I want that because that looks so cool. Like they can design some really, really legit, beautiful skins, and it's just like, you know, if they want people to do these trials and they want people to like really push for it, the reward should be worth it. You know, at the end, you should have this really dope skin that you want to have and gun for.
As we sit right now, it's a very strange
$20 one.
Yeah, totally. As we sit right now, there is nothing announced, right? They haven't, and in the previous seasons, you could roll your clock forward and you could see that, you know, this is the Cantina Legend reward, and people could see, you know, whatever weeks before the season ended last season, that this Torque skin was showing up, but none of the variants showed Cantina Legend, and I think it's got to be the biggest change to the season, right? To the trial season, because there has really been no other changes to the trial season. So I'm surprised I didn't make a mention of that.
I have a hunch that it's either A, there is going to be a like reveal thing of something, or B, it's more of a band-aid solution to, they know they probably don't have time to make the giant systemic changes to trials that people want.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like dialing back the rewards to make it not feel as bad from if you can't like make the push to get Cantina, like as a solo player or, you know, whatever. And everybody can, you know, make their arguments about it still being like they should still have some kind of exclusive reward or not. But I've kind of been operating on the hunch that it's probably more of just a band-aid solution for people that not feel as disenfranchised of like how
feel that
debatably unfair it is for some people to even have a chance to get into Cantina.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like their band-aid solution until they actually do an actual trial overall.
If it is a band-aid solution, that means that they did this last minute or something, or that they like, does that mean that there was a Cantina Legend skin and they pulled it? Or maybe the red one was Cantina Legend and what they did was they just
shifted it.
Laterally shifted them.
Oh. I would hope not. I feel like that is like probably the worst way of going about it, because like I mean, maybe they're trying to stem the tide of people like teaming, right? Like, and just making it so unfair that no one can get. So they're like, okay, we're just going to make the reward accessible to everyone. That way these people don't have that drive to go through and team and like game the system. And I feel like in that case, that's to me is a band-aid solution for sure, but it's also like probably one of the worst ways of going about it. I do think that there are ways that they can tweak the trials to make it a little more fair for like people that are either like, you know, they don't have a trios, or like they're not dedicating enough time to go on like Discord forums and like set up like 21-man teams and like doing all that. You know, maybe they're just trying to like pull back, maybe rework things this season, and hopefully next season they implement a better system.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Jugs, you said you did primarily solo?
Yeah, only solo.
Only solo for your trials. What kind of scores were you looking at in regards to like that last season there? There was like 300 something, 305 was Cantina Legend cutoff. I think I was at like 145. What were you pulling solo?
That one, Last week, at least in my bracket, I think I stopped at like just under 160,
That's
and
pretty
I
sweet.
think that put me at like
That's
literally
great. For
that put me at
solo?
like fourth on my bracket.
Wow.
I think that like the people above me, there was one solo dude and then a duo that was above me. And it was surprising actually. It was funny because like I mentioned it before and like I don't know if it was a Reddit thread or some shit where I was just like it was actually pretty chill for me. I don't feel like it was that bad to get that score and like I felt like it was kind of like chill and like kind of did it easily in the sense that like
Yeah.
I think I like only did my Hornets or sorry, my Wasp
Uh-huh.
trial. Like I one shot it. Like the first time I went into like
What'd you get on
and
that?
it
Oh
wasn't even
yeah.
that
Wait.
good. It
As a
was
solo,
like
you can only carry one person worth of snitch scanners, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even do
And
that
you,
well. Like I only got like I don't know, it was like 50 or 60K or something,
oh shit, that's
which I
better than
know
me.
like you had other people like validate stuff like where they were getting like 70Ks and shit in solo and whatever, which would have been cool, but like so I was like, all right, I did this. I did it on the one shot and then got through everything else. And I think I only ended with like, even my like ticks was like shit. It was like 30 something. Like I was like, whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's shit, right? Yeah, I definitely didn't get
well,
30.
I mean, compared to like you see other
I,
people they getting like higher scores even solos, but I was just like, man, I just can't be asked like doing all the like fishing, hoping nobody else is doing it, and like all this crap. So, anyways, so like that's what I mean. Whereas like I didn't really put a huge amount of effort. I basically did my wasps like in one shot. Maybe did like two or three
oh,
times to get like the decent tick
quick
one.
quick question about your wasp though. Did you do that
Yeah,
early into the season or to that last week, or did you do that like late? Did you wait for
I think I
say
did
like
it on
other
like a
trial scores?
Friday or Saturday.
Okay,
Hmm.
yeah, because like I did mine late, and that was a mistake because that's when everyone else was doing their wasp thing. I was banking on wasp being like super easy to do. I was doing it with my buddy, and we're like, cool, we have a whole loadout full of like snitch scanners, and we spawn in, and we were like able to do enough, but I think people spawned in late and still try to go for it, so it was fucking
Okay.
up our wasp thing. He
Yeah.
ended up giving up. He was like, I'm happy where I'm at. I was like, whatever, give me all your snitch scanners. I'll do it solo and just do it the next round over. And I
Yeah,
got like about like 40K in that one.
I loaded
But
in
yeah,
and like through the six, through my wolf pack. It was like, all right, I'm committed. The six worked. I'm just gonna go from there. And then I just threw them like every 30 seconds to like get the spawn.
Yeah, both
yeah.
both ones that I did where we stuck it out and kept going. I think so when I did mine, I did it with some people in the Discord. Just did looking for group or whatever, got two other people. Actually, it was two other people looking and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I have my scanner saved up. I'll jump into this." And we kind of ripped it first try. I think we got like a 74 or 71.9, I think it was. But it's interesting because you can feel like the game mechanics, the way that the game is coded, you can feel right away whether or not you're being contested. And
Yeah.
there's this weird moment where you're just like we're all trying to throw on like every half second to just like to try and capture that next laser because you know that if you capture like that activation a couple times in a row, you might actually muscle the other team into giving up.
Mhm.
It's this weird
Mhm.
strong arm thing going on. It's
Oh,
the
man.
weirdest tournament or leaderboard thing like experience I've had. But the Wasp one, the second time I did it with my other buddy, it was clear that most of the way through that match, we were struggling fighting against another team, and it took a while for them to give up. But it was because we just kept, because if you get every second one, at a certain point, somebody's just going to be like, well, wow, I'm not going to start throwing my scanners.
Yeah,
I'm not
waste
going
the
to.
rest of my stuff.
Yeah, but we were committed because we were like, we got a day left. My buddy needs to get a score on the Wasp thing, so we're gonna push. We're gonna. It's like an arm
Game of
wrestle, right?
chicken.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so you did wasp late then, right?
well, I did mine early, and then I did the
Hmm.
one with my buddy Dennis late,
Oh, okay.
and
Fair.
and then we got like I think we got up to 40,000 or something, but I got shot off the top of the spaceport wall somewhere. Someone just took a pop shot at me. I'm thinking about it now. I wonder if it was that other team. Like we got
I
hit.
bet.
I got one round that I felt it was like that was like a renegade or something, and we just ran and we just made it to the extract.
Yeah.
Like
I was thinking about doing that too because I was playing with my buddy and we were like just trying to circle the map, trying to because we did on hidden bunker and we were trying to like stay away from like the bunker area, but we were just like as soon as we spawned, we're like we're throwing, and as we were walking towards the last exit, we're like, man, what's going on? Like, how come we're just still like someone else is doing it, right? And they were right there at that last exit. They were throwing their scanners, and we're like, should we ruin their score? Should we be assholes? Nah, we won't do it. We'll let them have this one. But my buddy, he was just checked out at that point. He was happy where we're at, and I was just like, cool. Give me the rest of your scanners. I'm going in the next round solo, and I'll just do it on my own.
Yeah. So Jugs, you're solo. Were you doing yours just hoping to have your own corner of the map and just get it done, or were you like even with the ticks? Were you killing everyone else in the lobby to kind of command the sections?
No. I'm a friendly PvE player.
Yeah, same.
I don't shoot people because I don't want to screw up my my ratings generally.
I only have water, but I'll raise a toast to you.
Yeah, cheers. I'll raise my little bevy.
No, I mean that's like some of the, I feel like, I don't want to say issues. I guess you could say nuance, texture, flavor, whatever you want to call it, of like min-maxing some of these trials that are like to those points of like, yeah, do you load in, and especially if you like queue in the last couple of minutes of like a night raid or whatever, and then you just murder everybody and know that like the lobby's empty, there's no more spawns, like it's just me, like that is, in most cases the optimal thing to do, but it's just like, and that sucks. Like that sucks that it's like you feel like that's what you have to do.
I just know that I suck at PvP, so I'm like, I'm just gonna stick to friendly lobbies because like I know if I end up in like heavy PvP lobbies, I'm going to get wrecked, and it's just gonna repeat the cycle where I'm having to get more supplies and do this all over again. So yeah, I did mine all in friendly lobbies pretty much.
We definitely tried. We on our tick run, we we loaded in with the hull crackers, like full big loadout, and we get down to cultural archives or whatever, and there's another team in there, and we say, hey, like, what's up? We're here to do the trials. They're like, yeah, no, that's cool. That like we're good. And then they waited until we were apart, and then they downed Dennis, and then they come over, and I was like, hey guys, like what the heck? And they down me, and then they're like, you guys get out of here, crawl to extract. We're not going to thirst you, but this is our lobby. We just want this one. And I was like, that is the weirdest, like friendly aggressive thing. Like I said, I was like, you could have just you actually probably could have just asked me to leave.
I was thinking about doing the same thing too. I was like, hey guys, I'm here to do trials. I don't want to kill you, but if I have to, I will, because I'm trying to get my trials done. Didn't come down to that. Luckily, I got a stroke of luck, and my tick run was like, I got 30K. Not great, but I was doing that cycle over and over again so many times, and it was coming down to the wire. We're just like, cool, we're sticking with this run. Luckily, no one else is really doing it. They saw me doing it. They kind of just backed off and went left, and I was able to hit some runs, but not as much as I'd like.
Yeah. What's funny is I feel like, maybe it's because like most of my, like the intensity in my memories of this trials season or whatever was focused at the end of the season. So I don't really have like a lot of stories from doing like the snowball trials and stuff, because I wasn't really focusing on it back then.
This is awful.
Season 3 here is like coming into this season, I'm like focused on it. But even though this week is like totally chill, you don't have to really care. I think I'm like, I haven't even done 2 of my trials, and I'm in the double promotion bracket still. But like,
I do like these new trials. I think that they're kind of stepping in the right direction, where it's not so much like, like limited resource collection, right? Like, I mean, the Bird's Nest, it's loot Bird's Nest. That's the same thing as Arc Probes, pretty much. Damaged Spotters, that's an infinite resource technically, but it's cool because you have to like also deal with the Bombardier. You don't want to kill it. You just want to kill the spotters, so it's like a balance of like being able to survive and also rack up points. I think that they are kind of pushing in the right direction in this next trial season.
Like there's a lot of space for annoyance, because you basically, now you got to hope A, there's nobody else doing it, and B, that nobody's trying to kill the Bombardier.
Yeah,
that's true.
You just want it to stay alive and keep respawning the spotters every, whatever it is, 90 seconds or 60 seconds or something.
It's probably really, really difficult to make a trial system for this game where you have so many different variables, like different players that have different motivations, and to like make it work for everybody it's like you're never going to please everyone, right?
Yeah,
I do think that this is better than like harvesting plants, where it's like they take the plant and then it's gone.
I don't think, to your point, like there's a way for them to make ones that are like degenerate proof.
Yeah, no.
Like, that's just
being
gonna
a
be
deterrent
like
part of this
awful
game.
experience.
Yeah, this game would suck if there wasn't rats, if there
Like
wasn't
this,
degenerates,
like
you
the
know?
snowball one was super annoying. Of like, I did the
Oh.
strat of like going into Buried City, hoping
Yeah.
that hoping it's a bastion and not a bombardier that
In the
spawns.
middle, yeah.
Going into like the little middle park next to like a hospital and
In that
stuff
magazine
in the little
tower thing, or
magazine
like magazine
thing,
thing, it has two
and then
snowball
like
spawns.
trying
Yeah.
to block it in with your barricades and stuff, and like sitting
Oh, you
there.
did that?
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
only
So like,
recently heard about this.
but like
Interesting.
so it's not even just like I go in with an inventory full and start throwing. It's no, I go in that little hut, empty my inventory, and then just sit there
Ah,
for the entire first 15 to 20 minutes of the match, just making more snowballs to throw on the ground. And then
Interesting.
finally, and then hope after 15 minutes of making snowballs that nobody kills the fucking Bastion.
Yeah.
Or if they
Or it
do,
kills you.
it was early enough that I get a respawn, and
That's a
then I can
crazy
start. And
strat.
then for like the last 12 to 10 minutes, I'm just sitting there trying to like do the thing. The problem is, and like I think we touched on it a little bit earlier too, with like friendly lobbies, is like you hope that people aren't going to kill the thing. And I think we
Yeah.
kind of got trolled last season too, where they did they did snowballs to Bastion and damage to Bastions in the same fucking
right.
week. So now
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
hoping that somebody's not just gonna, which actually happened to me a couple times. Somebody
They're just
rolls up
going
and
to
tries
kill
to
it.
kill
Yeah.
it because they're doing damage to Bastions, and I'm just like, I just sat here for 20 minutes making fucking snowballs, and you just
Yeah.
killed
Well,
my
now you have
Bastion.
snowballs for next time when you have
And
to
then you have to
respawn
leave
in.
and go
Yeah.
back. And then like
Um,
it's just annoying. But like even with the friendly lobbies, the same thing with the Rocketeers. I finally get it where I'm like on Dam and get the Rocketeer to be flipped over. It's flipped over. It's on
yeah.
the ground. I'm sitting there throwing, and then like because I'm in super friendly lobbies, someone's like shooting at it and like killing it while it's on the ground because they're like trying to help or be
Yeah, you're like,
friendly
no,
or
no, no,
whatever.
no,
And
no.
I'm like, please stop killing my Rocketeer. And it was just like, God damn it.
It's got to look so weird to people that play this game that maybe don't understand, like, or aren't
I
engaging
know.
with the trials,
I
to
to
like
like run
happen
over
upon
and talk
somebody
to that.
who's throwing
Yeah.
Yeah. This.
snowballs at a flipped over
Yeah. Stand there.
Rocketeer, just being like, "Can you please leave me to like I need to be by myself with this for a minute."
Yeah. It's
I
frustrating.
had a great time with the Bastion one. I will say, like, I know it was a super cheesy event, and but it was fun for me. Like me, I did that one with trios, and we like did the same strat, right? Well, like we went the lobby before or whatever. We all filled up our entire inventory with snowballs, and then we go to that little magazine hut, and there's a Bastion there, and then me and my friends. We're just dumping snowballs, right? We have one person that's collecting snowballs because there's two spawns there that are safe, and
Mhm.
we're just throwing snowballs. We're taking turns, and eventually, like six other people show up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're trying to do the trials too." And we're like, "All right, cool, just don't kill it, right?" And we're just throwing snowballs, and it got to the point where it did kind of suck because they were also taking our snowball spawns, so it did
Yeah.
slow things down a bit.
Yeah.
But someone was like, "Oh, what if we shoot all of its legs out? Then it can't walk, right? And then we could just keep throwing." And they did that in the worst spot possible, where it had a good shot at everyone inside of the little magazine hut.
Oh no.
And it was just like, dog, you kind of ruined it, but whatever. Like we got our points in, it was fine. Like it was a fun time because it was like nine of us all just kind of like pounding around throwing snowballs at this fucking robot. I like that one.
I had a stressful time with that one, and this was like before I was competing to get anything more than 4,000 points. I was just doing my trials as, hey, I'll get the items and everything. But I remember I went in one raid, I farmed up the snowballs, and I was like, I looked up how many you need to get the 4,000 points. I was like, I'll get like two more. And I missed 3 while I was throwing them at it. So I got all of my points saved for one more snowball to hit it. And I think there was like 6 minutes left in the round. And I literally was just running around trying to find a snowball somewhere and then to hope somebody didn't kill the Bastion by the time I got back. And I remember just like, I found that to be pretty funny. It was an interesting, like, I remember when I saw like, wait, we have to throw snowballs at the like lethal arc. That seems ridiculous, but it was pretty fun. I didn't realize that people were gaming it at the time with like barriers. And I mean, I did hear about the Rocketeer one because that was pretty obvious, but
yeah, I think that's the funny thing too, where it's like it started out as like this cheesy, cute kind of like trial where you're like, that's fun and whatever, and then you realize like, oh no, this is gonna be really degenerate and like
Yeah. Oh no.
okay, now I
Yeah.
actually hate this. This sucks.
Yeah.
Actually,
I
I don't
mean,
remember if it was the last one I got my final score or if it was one before, but I actually got lucky at one point where one of my barricades like flipped the bastion like over on its side. So
Oh,
I kind
what?
of got like the Rocketeer treatment where it was like upside down, not being able to
Couldn't
do
move.
anything. And I was
Oh,
just
that's
like,
sick.
hell yeah, this is free.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know what score I got. I know like that's that round. I'm pretty sure me and my buddies we walked off with like 300k. Like everyone was getting 300k. Like that was a baseline.
As a solo, that was very
Whoa.
depressing to see the leaderboards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But it was so easy, and like honestly, the cool thing about that Embark did too was they actually had the like, oh, was it the Cold Snap event happening almost like it was happening constantly, right? It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, you gotta wait till like 4 in the fucking morning to show up and do this thing on
Yeah.
Spaceport. Like once a day, it was happening constantly. And I think that they need to do that as well for these other map conditions that they're gonna have in trials. Like Bird's Nest, that should be happening. I mean, it's only one map, which is really shitty. Like they kind of fucked themselves on that.
Well, and they did
They
increase
spawns recently. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wonder.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, I
Wait,
believe.
so the Bird's Nest respawn?
Well, the bird nests can be opened and then they can be opened again by other people, so they don't actually like get depleted
It's like pros.
by one team.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, sorry.
Yeah.
I was so focused on trials, I didn't even care about Bird's Nest last season.
Yeah.
It's still new to me. I haven't played since last season.
I didn't even get to play Bird City until they changed the cycle of it, because originally, I was, in Central Time or whatever. It was like, yeah, I guess I either 8 in the morning or 5 p.m. like when I'm getting home, or in the middle of the night.
Oh,
and I was like, I guess that means I don't get to play the new mode they put in, which I wasn't really too worried about it, because it was like, it was just to go and find all these new ducks and everything. But now
I have friends that was their entire drive to play this game.
Really?
To collect as many ducks. Like,
Yes.
I've got screenshots, and like they weren't duping. They just had like entire. They show me like their little raider den just covered in ducks. That's all
Nice.
they care about.
That's actually the next thing that I want to get for like our little studio setup here in the back, is I want to grab a bunch of rubber ducks. And if you look at them in game and inspect them, you can tell that they're all shittily hand painted over regular yellow ducks.
Oh,
so yeah, I want to just, they seem
so
really
cool.
easy to recreate. I want to just litter the actual little
just
studio space.
Just own a Jeep Wrangler and you're good. You get that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they just flow to you. You end up with them.
to John's point about what you thought the bird thing would be, there actually is one this season that seems problematic like that, which was the disarm mines at Locked Gate. It's like,
yeah.
Those don't respawn, and if only one person can disarm them, so that sounds awful. That one, I'm not looking forward to.
I have questions. I have questions about that, because is the Locked Gate disarm mines? Where is that? Disarm mines during Locked Gate. Now, how do you disarm them? Do you have to just crouch walk up to them? Is that always been a thing?
I believe so.
Yeah, I believe you can I think you could walk on top of them. It's like it's like literally from like the movies, where like you step on it, as long as you don't move, it doesn't blow up.
No.
So it's like, I'm pretty sure you can like walk up and get close to it, or even step on it and do the disarm.
Yeah, that one's gonna be like
the fast way by just running over them without knowing and blowing.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
This one's gonna be like the Harvest Plants then.
For sure.
Yeah, that sucks. A limited resource that only like one person can really like maximize on.
Squads.
It's going to encourage more of that like teaming thing. And also, do you guys have thoughts on how to mitigate teaming? I do. I have some ideas that I'd like to like discuss. And
I'd love to hear
my biggest issue.
You're saying outside of trios, right? Like,
well, yeah,
full squad. Like,
I'm even thinking. So if you don't mind, I'd like to get into this trial thing.
Yeah,
I've had ideas. I've been thinking about this entire time. So when I did my trials, right, I was doing that pretty much as solos or duos, sometimes trios, but it wasn't like it was early season. And, it was mainly my main push was solos. And I was realizing like, yeah, I can never get as high of a score, than a trio could, which kind of sucks, but like, whatever, I'm still going to kind of push. I eventually landed in Daredevil, like kind of somewhat like around mid-season. And I was like, oh, maybe this is possible. And so like after that, I just like was dead set on grinding. Oh, hello there.
Oh,
So I was dead set on that. I was like, oh, there's a chance, and I just went full grind mode, right? And I was like, if I can get a hot shot at this point in the season, I can probably make Cantina Legend. And so I was so focused on that, and I was grinding until like the last week, whatever. I was in hot shot, and I was like, me and my buddy were like, okay, like we have to wake up at like 2 a.m. to do this certain trial at this time. And we have like, this is like when we're going to push our snitch scanners, and this is when we're going to try to do our ticks. And like, it was like, I was like canceling plans with people in the real world because I was like, hey, sorry, I gotta like, I'm focused on being sweaty. I apologize. Like, I set life aside to do this shit. And it really sucked because like the last few days, I kind of like locked in my score. I was like about like 100, almost 150,000. And I sit there and I'm just like, there's only a few things I could really try and push, but it's so hard to do on your own. And then I found out that people were teaming. That's when I learned that people were hopping in Discord servers with like 21-man teams and just wiping lobbies and just solely gaming the system. And it crushed me. I was just like, well, I can't compete with that. Like, these people are going to get perfect scores. That is such a weakness of this game that I was like, whatever, dude, you know what? 150,000, 147, I think that's what I got. I'm just going to leave it at that. I got like 17th on the leaderboard for Hot Shot. And I could have gone higher, but I just lost all the wind in my sails since learning about that. And I'm late to the game. I'm like not plugged in to the Reddit. I'm not plugged into the Discord. Like, I kind of I'm a very casual gamer as it is. But this game was like, it definitely sucked me in. And it sucked to like kind of get crushed like that. And I think that there are ways that we could, or Embark could implement the trial system where it is more fair. And, sorry, I've been talking a lot. So I want to give you guys like an opportunity to speak too, if you guys have ideas, because let's keep this open discourse. But I've got thoughts. If you
are you talking about the problem of like Cantina Legend specifically, or just like the trials in general?
Well, I guess trials in general, but specifically, really, like the main goal is to get Cantina Legend, right?
Yeah,
like that's the be all. That's why we're doing it.
I guess it's not really the problems of people like triple teaming or like 21-man teams and stuff. None of that is actually affecting anybody's ability to get into Hot Shot, right? I guess so. That's not.
No,
I guess it's only
easy.
I guess it's only a Cantina Legend problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things I wanted to discuss in this, because there's been a lot of people talking about whether to split into multiple leaderboards, for like one for solo and then one for either squads.
I was thinking that too.
Or two other ones. I don't think they should make 3 separate ones. But yeah, like we can touch on that after. But if you have something you want to roll into, I'd love to hear it.
I was mainly thinking that like there should be strictly like the only way to do trials is if you're a solo with a free loadout. Like just across the board, like if you're in free solo with a free loadie, that's what counts towards your trial score, because at the end of the day, the trial system is to test like how good you are as a raider, right? Like if you're able to damage leapers with like a fucking, with a rattler and get a high score, that means you're really good at what you do. And like that really puts the onus on you, as opposed to like banking on a bunch of people to help you achieve this one goal. And with a free loadout, you can't just farm snitch scanners and come in the next round and just spam snitch scanners.
Yeah.
Like you do that, just blank slate, even playing field. And it's up to the skill and dedication of the player to perform these trials. So actually the funny thing is there's been a couple videos, a couple other content creators that I've seen that have referenced the similarity of the trial structure in Arc Raiders to actually just like the speedrunning community, because of how sometimes these the tasks that you need to do, like the farming and the this or whatever, and then you do another attempt. And lots of times in speedrunning, you're pushing an attempt. Sometimes it's like, I can tell this one's not a good run. I'm going to bail right here and start again. And ultimately it's just your highest score, which is like a time trial almost. The funny thing is, I learned recently that Arc Raiders does have categories on speedrun.com and they are ridiculous. No way.
And some of them do involve the concept of like, here's these challenges that you can do, but you can only use a free loadout. I did see a content creator talking about like a big game hunting, where you basically you can only use free loadouts, and you have to log your time on like, you have to kill one of each of the big arc or whatever. not including
That's cool.
the matriarch or the queen, but you have to kill all of the big enemies.
Like a leaper, bastion. Yeah. That's really cool. I like
And
that. I feel like that would help with like the whole skill aspect of this game.
Yeah, I do like that as like there's these special conditional things, challenges to do. I think they could almost like add that on top. But I do worry about making free loadout for the trial system because it does take a lot of the depth out of the planning and the preparation and everything for these trials, which I think is really stimulating to a lot of people. Like I know, shout out to Valiate. He's one of the solo player, like YouTube content creators. And like just at the start of each of his videos is just like an in-depth discussion of how his loadout is stacked. Why, you know, because like lots of times instead of running the survivor augment, he's running the cautious or whatever, just because it has the extra 4 slots, because sometimes you need every slot. You absolutely can't have just like 20 slots in your backpack. You have to have the 24 to be able to bring in enough materials, enough zip lines, enough like, and I found that stuff incredibly interesting. Like watching somebody over engineer, like optimize in that speedrunning way and discussing their loadouts and their preparation. So I think you would lose that with running free loadout stuff. And man, you'd have so many people running in with free loadouts and being like, fuck, I got the Rattler again. I guess I'm surrendering, you know?
They should also fix the fucking Rattler. Like there's no reason why the Rattler should suck so bad, you know? It's a cursed run when you start with a Rattler. But no, I understand like I do love the nuance. Like I forget what his name is. Starts with the V. Not coming to my mind, but he was crucial to like me and my buddy trying to really grind for solo or like for trials.
Yeah.
And like, you would lose that. But I think that the fairness where like, if you're doing solo, you know, it's going to be much harder to have a whole team spawn in at the same fucking lobby. Also, they should also get rid of the lobby ID. Like that should be gone. Maybe at the end of the match, whatever, should not be a thing. Because like, people can just exploit that and just make it just so unfair for anyone that wants to do it honestly, you know, but say like can't devote the time to be like doing this all day, right?
I mean, I know it was playing Escape from Tarkov. You wouldn't even need lobby ID. Like if you got into the raid and you were wondering if you got into the same raid, you know, you could just throw a grenade, and if you could tell your buddy heard it blow up from across the map, you'd be like, yeah, we're good. Like we're in the same raid. I think it's going to be really difficult for them to tackle that problem, especially with people going to like servers that are low player count and
it's impossible to like, it's an impossible problem to fix. And I'm not saying that like, oh, we need just a strictly PvE lobby, because like that right there ruins the game.
Yeah,
you need that human element, that unpredictability to make this game fun and make the trials really a challenge. Otherwise, it'd just be too easy.
Yeah, Jugs. Were you the one that said that you were in game development?
Yeah.
So I know you said you didn't want to disclose for what or whatever. Just some super secret tech.
Step out for one moment. I'll be right back though.
All right. What are your thoughts from a point, like actually, if without, you know, divulging too much information, what kind of game development stuff do you, what is your specialty?
I'm a producer, so more on the like management side.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's tough. Other games have had the same problem actually. Like I mentioned, like back when playing like classic WoW, for instance, all of the battlegrounds had the same problem actually, where there was a huge Discord that was all about pre-made grouping, and everybody would get into a Discord. There would literally be somebody in voice doing a countdown, and then you'd all queue together at the same time, and then you'd get into like an Altered Valley, which is like a 40-man, you know, whatever, and like end up with like almost near full pre-made groups that would just, you know, destroy the other team. And like that ended up being a huge problem for classic WoW in that sense. It kind of ruined the experience. So like, yeah, I don't know how much. I know you guys. I think you guys had touched on it in your last episode, where like is removing like the IDs or like anything like that would that help? Because it sounds like, you know, that was part of it, was like logging in and checking like, oh, are we in the same game or not? If not, we'll like, you know, leave. So I don't know. I feel like it's I don't know how they would do it where it's like verifying if it's like some kind of check of like not putting you with the same people you did other like previous games with back to back type thing. Because it's like, I feel like there's a lot of games, even games like League of Legends or like whatever, like if you queue at the same time with some folks, it's like there's just a high chance that you get in with them at the same time. So it's like it's a difficult thing to solve.
Now
I watched
I watched a video today while I was at work that also referenced World of Warcraft and like the structure of that they had similar problems. And it seemed to be that the way that he was talking about it was that they eventually figured out how to manage those problems. Is that the case? Yeah. Like, did World of Warcraft figure it out?
Yeah, it ended up getting fixed. I don't remember what it ended up being because shit, that was like what 5 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
For Classic WoW, I forget what it was, what the solve was, but yeah, we ended up getting fixed in a way that those kind of discords went away and weren't necessary anymore.
Interesting.
I can't remember for the life of me what they ended up doing to fix it.
I'm gonna put that in my notes to look into and see, or to go back to that video at least and see what the guy was referencing. And anybody in the comments or whatever, if you have information on what World of Warcraft did to fix similar problems, I'm really curious because it seems
the lifeline.
Yeah, if they can do something about it, then for the most part, it's a good system. It is a cool system as long as they do interesting trials. And that like I still have my thoughts on the get hit by lightning thing. Like I don't know if we want to talk about some of the stuff coming up in season 3 here in our like the ones that stand out to me is the get hit by lightning, which seems like it's going to be probably totally fine for anybody that's probably going to just want to get their 5,000-10,000 points or whatever, get their items. But if you're trying to make the best score and you're like, let's say there's people sitting there bandaging you while you're getting hit or bringing you extra, I'm so curious to see how that one goes.
It definitely encourages the teaming aspect, right? Because the lightning does so much damage. Like you're gonna have to have a full loadout of like medical supplies to be able to.
It does, that. Yeah, it rocks you.
And yeah, that's I think because they aren't implementing anything drastic, where like what I'm saying was like there's a trials mode that's just like one specific thing, like go in with a free loadout solo. I think that we'll play on that for now. Hopefully they come up with something by next season that makes it a little bit more, evens the playing field by this point.
Yeah,
the lightning thing is fine.
The other ones, well, I guess sorry to finish my point on the lightning thing. I'm envisioning going into raids and watching people like running in circles in the water or something, like for 30 minutes. Hidden. Like I'm curious what the strat is going to be. That one is. It almost kind of seems like a meme entry. And if that's the case, if they're just like memeing on people, then it's like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Have you seen that person that does like Arc Raiders tilt shifts, like them fighting the matriarch?
No.
Oh yeah, there's these really cool videos where they do like a tilt shift, like kind of like. I think that would be amazing content for them. Like, I do. If I these guys just like running around, just getting hit by lightning.
Yeah, if I can find, I'll put it on screen, like in post or whatever. They're to describe them. I saw them in YouTube Shorts or whatever. It's basically like somebody standing on the top of a hill watching for an entire session of people fighting the queen or the matriarch. But then in post, they like add blur and make it sped up so that it looks like it's little like ants and beetles like fighting. Yeah. And it looks hilarious. It's so funny.
I feel like that's gonna be good content right there.
Yeah. The other ones that I have questions about is there's ones that require key rooms now, right? We got one this week with the search medical. If you want to get the best score in search medical containers in Stellamontis, you have to go in every single one of those attempts with a medical room key. And those are pretty RNG to find, right?
Yeah.
So,
as someone in the super friendly lobbies, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like in my lobbies, it feels like literally everybody in the lobby has every key ever run.
They're always open when you get there.
Because it's so hard to use my keys, I feel like, where it's like, unless you spawn literally on the room, you're never going to be able to open it. So
that's true.
I would imagine, at least in my lobbies, I'm not too worried about that.
I don't think there's any other ones that actually require there, but it is, I think week 4 shows that same one, which is, I think, one of the only repeats so far, which season 3 seems to have less repeats, which is nice.
I think that they'd have a great trial just being like, just sell every key you have in your lobby or your inventory just to like make points. Because like my God, last season I ended with so many keys I didn't use. I would love a reason to just burn them all. You know?
Yeah. So actually, we got deliver carryables coming back. That's just one that always comes up. Jugs, what was your experience doing solos and getting high scores with that?
Well, last season it was like you could get, I don't know what it was, like 7, 8K, 9K on those. It depends, because if you go to like Stella, then you could get, was like 12Ks was like the highs, because you
If
could
you
use
got
all
them
the
all.
batteries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
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 So like it's possible on there, but the problem I had too was, I don't know if you guys ran into this. It was like midway through last season. I don't know if it was a bug or intentional or if it's been fixed, where especially for carrying the carryables to like the supplies and not the batteries, was you only got credit for your initial
Oh, right.
deposit and not additional ones to the same depot.
To the same
Oh, that
depot.
sucks. Yeah.
So like if you tried to do it on Buried City, you literally couldn't even 3-star it because it only has 3 depots and you need 4. So it was like you literally can't 3-star on Buried City with that change.
That wasn't
Like,
an
that's why I was
intentional
like,
change,
I don't
was
know.
it?
Did they ever communicate, or has it been fixed? Because I
I'm
think
not
people were like,
sure.
either this is a bug or it was intentional. Because yeah, I found that out the hard way when I was like delivering
That
multiple.
sucks.
I was trying to do it on Buried City and like delivered, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them or something like that, and then still walked away with a 3,000 score. And I was like, wait, I definitely delivered more than 3. Like, what the
Weird.
hell's going on here?
You're a madman.
And then
Finding those things on Buried City for me are crazy because they're like inside all the houses and stuff.
Yeah, that's why you just gotta pull up, Metaforge or whatever.
Yeah.
And just
Oh yeah.
stare at the.
Thank God for that. I
Did you see
that was one
they have an
trial.
overlay now? Did you see that?
Overlay?
They have like an Overwolf like overlay thing to like put over your game.
So that when you just hit
what?
M, it just shows you where things are on your map?
Yeah, like you have like a little map
Oh my
overlay
God.
over your game screen rather than having to have it like on a second monitor. Have you seen
That's
that?
all. That's honestly
I'm
awesome. Like it sounds like cheating, but my God, that's so nice.
Yeah, I don't. At first I was like, is that TOS? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I'll do some digging and
Yeah.
see what's
I
up
feel like
with
there
that.
should be different categories for trials, and like I was just thinking earlier, I'm like, you know what? If we did the solo thing, like the true solo with like by yourself with a freeloader, that's like your true rank, right? And then you could do everything else where everyone else could like, team, come up with weird strategies and shit like that. Like that's also cool, like that's
Yeah.
add that to like the kind of like, like with people when they speed run, it's like glitchless or like, oob, no oob or whatever. I feel like that's all dope. It does allow that. But I feel like if you truly want to test your metal, do the solo.
In regards to like the idea that where I brought up was like, or not that I specifically brought up, but most people are talking about. I know Valley8, his channel, he's like, please embark, like split, make solos at least its own like leaderboard. I wanted to like kind of go over what that would feel like, because I think it would be most appropriate to split into, there's a solo trials leaderboard, and then there's a group or squads where it would be duos and trios, I think, in that one. Because it basically what it means is that when you do get your first points, if you are in a solo raid and you get points, you get placed on a solo leaderboard with solo players. And then if you'd have just like separate leaderboards, you'd have to have 2 tabs or whatever. It might complicate the UI slightly, but I think that could be a pretty clean fix to making it so that solos aren't so completely out of the loop. Then you'd at least have people that, you could even put solo Cantina Legend. Like you could get a distinction where at the end of the season, you'd have here's your top 1,000 solo Cantina Legends. And I think that would be really sweet, because there's a lot of people that like to play this game solo and to do the trials solo. If you're doing duos, trios, it feels like a completely different game, even just for the probes. Like doing probes with just duos and being able to just kind of like skirt the map one each side. It's just a way, way different game.
Absolutely.
But the interesting thing is, like, you'd have sickos going for both too, right? You'd have like the people being like, no, I'm getting Cantina Legend in both categories every season. So I wonder if that would actually stress out the hyper competitive players. Because it would double
if
their
you're
efforts.
going that hard, like God bless you. If you could do that, for sure, go for it. Like,
yeah,
most people, either they're gonna stick. In my opinion, I feel like a lot of people will be competing on the solos thing because like it's easy to play this game on your own.
Yeah.
Having to like queue up with other people, get friends to play at the same time is gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
I do think that also it wouldn't really change the mechanics of the game too drastically, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, oh no, we have to have a whole different mode for this. This is like, no, just like have a different ranking score, easy
Yeah.
money.
I think
Yeah,
it's an easy. Go ahead.
I think ideally, like the pie in the sky dream would be to have solos, duos, and trios all have their own brackets. And to your point, you being able to compete in all three separately if you really want to, or like if you do things in solos, it contributes to your solo ranking. And if you do end up duoing or trioing with friends, then it also separates like that. Rather than I've heard some people say like, oh, whatever one you do first, that's it. You're locked in for that week.
Yeah, I don't think that's good.
If you do end up playing with
No.
friends, like you don't get credit for it. It's only solos. Like, yeah, I get this. There's probably a lot of different like implications when it comes to like implementation on like the dev side, but like I think ideally in the perfect world, if everybody got their cake and wanted to eat it too, it's separate ladders. You can compete in all three separately if you really want to, if you're playing with different friends. But I think the part that makes it kind of tricky is it feels like there's probably I think we queue all in the same bucket, which is maybe why there's the separating them out right now is difficult. Like for instance, it sounded like when I first spoke about the game, because if you remember, especially with like duos and like even some solos, like occasionally you would get queued in with like groups or duos with trios or
Right.
whatever, because and then
Oh, yeah.
they like the terminology they used was you get
Ooh.
prioed to be queued with your similar sizes, not it's like a separate queue altogether. So it's like
Right.
all one queue system. So it's not
I
three
see.
separate queue systems.
Hmm.
I see what
So
you're
that's
getting
why
at.
I'm wondering if it's like difficult because it's like you're just toggling on the menu of like fill or not, or solo versus squad or not. I'm not choosing like solo queue, duo queue, trio
Yeah.
Yeah.
queue. Like
Just strictly solos and
they're
duos.
not
Yeah.
partitioned away like in separate queues. So I'm wondering if that's what makes it hard for them to like
Hmm.
separate the
Actually,
leaderboard
yeah. That
stuff right now.
I have a question about that. In practice, in your guys' experience, in however many hours you guys have, which I think you guys stated, how often do you find yourself coming up against an imbalanced duo? Like if you go in as duos, how have you really experienced going up against trios or solos?
Oh,
How often does that happen?
in my experience, no, I haven't. I've only been in like lobbies where like if I'm solo, I'm playing with solos. If I'm
Yeah.
duos, same thing. I haven't had that issue.
Yeah, but it still exists. I have seen streamers. I have seen streamers where, um, God, what was it? Oh, there was people. There was somebody, a trio that loaded into Stella, and they started shooting somebody, and the guy he just started freaking out. He was just like, "What the hell, man? Like this teaming, all these people teaming up in solos lobbies is getting out of hand." And they were like, "We're a trio or
That's
whatever,"
crazy.
and he was like, "What? Like
Yeah,
I loaded it as a
the fact
solo."
that I've seen that come up too on like Reddit and stuff a couple times, and like the fact that that happens and is possible, like even further makes me think that it's like it's all one queue, and it
It
just
is.
has like preferences that like lean you towards like priorities of solos go with solos, and then you end up with these edge cases of sometimes it's not happening, which makes me believe that it's like they would probably to really fix the leaderboard thing and all those kind of things to make that easier, we would really have to like splinter the player base and have separate queues of like
Yeah.
solo queue, duo queue, trio queue.
Yeah, and I know
And
they're
then I
not
guess
willing. They're
solo
not willing to
versus
do that.
squad queue now
Yeah.
is its own
Oh
thing.
yeah,
So
right.
like or whatever. So like I don't know like how they would separate some of those things, but I feel like if they did that, that's what would make it probably a lot easier for them to have separated leaderboards.
To me, that makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a game developer, so maybe developing different servers for different queues is like a really astronomically difficult thing to do. Maybe they shouldn't expect to have the amount of players that they had. So they're like, yeah, one queue lobby, whatever, and like the system will sort itself out. And now we've got like, 3 million people playing at once. And it's just like, oh
Yeah.
no, like, what do we do? How do we fix this?
Some of it's like server costs and like all of
Yeah.
that whole situation, but then it's like you're splintering your people in actually different lobbies, which also can affect queue times and things like that. So yeah, I don't know.
I think it might be interesting if, like, let's say maybe if it's next season or whatever, they just like at least say, hey, we're trying it out. Because I think if you do something like we're going to add dedicated leaderboards for whatever mode or duos, trios, and solos, I don't think that takes anything away from people currently. And I think that's one of the most important things that they got to think of is if they're going to make a change to it, I think it has to be like an equal footing of accessibility and still cater to all of the people who do enjoy it right now in the ways that they are engaging with it, And I think it does sort of work in that way where you're not taking anything away from anybody. I mean, you're not addressing, I guess, the multi-teaming thing, but would that be? Yeah. I mean, I'm curious if you'd get like people doing the multi-teaming thing in duos and then doing the multi-teaming thing in solos as well. Like you probably.
I feel like for the teaming thing, the only thing I could think of is like if it's basically like, oh, all three of us are queuing into solos, and if we count down in Discord, all right, 3, 2, 1, queue, and then like we end up in the same lobby because, we were close enough in our, click in a milliseconds that we all got put in line at this, close to each other type thing. Like if it works like that for their system, they'd probably have to like randomly assign like different queue times to folks. Like instead of it just being like we clicked it all at the same time so we're in line together, it's just like we clicked it at the same time but I get like plus 20 seconds to mine, you get plus 5 to yours, and you're next in line, and like stagger out it like that potentially, so it doesn't matter if we actually did a countdown and tried to sync it and queue at the same time. It's actually going to like assign you a random additional queue time to stagger it out, so you can't really game it. Like maybe there's some weird way to do it that way. I don't know. I'm not a game designer or a architect when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. But like that's the only thing I could think of like right off the top of my head of like how adding artificial queue times in like a small, even if it's a small like random enough. Yeah. If there's enough players, adding a plus 5 second queue time to somebody if they tried to queue with their friend is probably enough for them to not be in the same game.
That sounds like a great fix, in my opinion.
Maybe that's a solution. I don't know, but I don't feel like it's probably not enough that people would feel it. Like that doesn't suddenly mean now you have a 5-minute queue time.
Oh yeah. Have you guys ever tried doing that? Like tried like queuing with your friends at the same time?
Nope.
Just to like test it out.
Not in
I did
this
it once.
game.
I did it once with my buddies, and we first tried off, and like we weren't even trying trials. We were just trying to see if this was a thing. And we all queued at the same time. We all had free loadouts, and we were able to get one game in where we all spawned in the same lobby. And ever since then, we're like, okay, cool. We try with free loadouts, obviously because like I don't know I'm sure the gear like money value is the same. And then we tried it with like full loadouts. We're like, all right, let's try it again and see if we can do it with like, different values of loadouts. And we just couldn't queue together.
Interesting.
I don't know what these people are doing to like queue together in big groups. Obviously they have better knowledge than I do, but it was really difficult.
So I've heard that there is like the main strategy. I think that there's more detailed things that you can do, but the main strategy is going to like a server or going to a server that has a low player count and doing it at a time of night when the player count is low, just trying to like increase your chances that you're going to get that. But I also have heard that if you are a total degenerate and you're into the hacks and stuff, that I heard that like even with Tarkov, I heard some streamers talking about they saw proof in certain discords where stream snipers will, they actually have the ability in the hacks that they pay for to like piggyback a sign off of somebody else's like digital ID or something, so that when they trigger that they're going into a raid, it'll actually trigger and follow into that raid. Because like people were wondering like, how are these people, the big Arc Raider streamers as well.
Stream sniping.
Yeah, they're like, what? Like I know
5
that
games in a row. You're like, how the hell?
I watched the Burnt Peanut and Cloaksy. I think it was like 5 or 6 or 7 raids in a row where they were getting these cheaters coming up and killing them. And the wild part was that they had blocked them as well. they had used the feature in game to block them so that they wouldn't end up in the same lobbies, but then they were just repeatedly getting in, and it was a total crash out moment. I remember there was some choice words being said at the screen, being like, "How is this possible? Like, we can't even ban these people from following us."
They hide their screen. They pick different regions, different maps, different conditions. Like
Yep.
every time they still get followed. It's
And
like how the.
I believe that if you are completely without morals and you have like that kind of stuff installed on your system, that you can game the system quite efficiently. Let me know in the comments if anybody else has like other experience or like knows if that's true. I've only just heard that. I think it was on the podcast recently that Jesse and Veritas talking about Escape from Tarkov. But yeah, it's wild. I'm really curious to see when. I mean, Embark's got to say something, right, about the trial season, because they have made changes to remove the cosmetic from Cantina Legend, and I'm just curious when they're going to come out and say.
I know they just put out the blog, and I know some people like clicked on that thinking like, oh, here it is, they're finally talking about trials, but really it's just like the stuff you already know about trials, and you're like, oh, okay.
Interesting.
I was gonna say, like, I think outside of like teaming and the trios and like all that kind of stuff, there's obviously like a bunch of RNG that's involved too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'd imagine like outside of getting like almost like a private server situation where you can pick the perfect conditions and everybody's on the same page always, and like it's almost like a very sterile situation, like there's clearly like an acceptable level of RNG that like adds to the game and the challenge and blah blah blah. But like, do you guys feel like it's too much right now in trials? Because as many people have mentioned before, it's like not only do you have also like all the nuance of like, are you in friendly lobbies versus PvP, and like, are you doing the shit like killing people and blah 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 and all that stuff, but it's also like you need to get a fresh spawn, be in the right spawn location, the right extract location, also hope that other people aren't doing your trials. Like there's all of that dynamic. Again, it only matters, I guess, if you're going for like, top 1% shit. If you're just like, I'm cool with hotshot, then some of that stuff sucks. But like, there's many times where like I had hotshot most of all of last season and I ended with it. But like most of the time, if I didn't have the perfect spawn, the perfect extract, I just said, fuck it, good enough, and like was fine. So like, it's not that big of a deal unless you're going for like Cantina and stuff, whatever. But like, are you cool with that much RNG as a base level? And I guess the second question basically on that is like, obviously condition rotations are obviously problematic with needing the right conditions. I know everybody on NA is like, fuck Storm on Spaceport 4 a.m., blah blah blah, whatever. But like all of those problems. Another easy really fix to like the condition problem, and I haven't heard anybody talk about it, and I'm curious what people's thoughts are. And it also kind of solves the like, wow, the 40-minute matches are like just always the better because they have more time and blah blah blah. That's kind of its own problem, I guess. But like, would removing the ×2 trial multi on the conditions, like just like not having a ×2 condition, so like it actually doesn't matter what map you go into, what condition.
You just do on it, whatever map. Yeah.
Like, should they just remove the X2 multi, and then it's like, yeah, you want to go on freaking damn Lush Blooms to do your Hornets, like whatever, fuck it.
You know what though, I do still think even if they were to take away the 2x multiplier, the gamers will optimize the fun out of anything. They will find the most efficient particular mode, and the grinders will just be trying to target that one no matter what, whether it's daytime spaceport or whatever. I think that I don't know if it'll fully mitigate the problem. Because there's always going to be a difference between the maps. So
because like
it does.
I was just gonna say there is like the different spawn logic, and like there's more arc on blah blah night or storm, or like, oh, there's more husks on storm. Like, so even if you remove the X2 multiplier, like that's still a true statement. Or maybe the whatever, like the husks condition that you would think would be the one to go do the husk trial on isn't, because it's not an X2 multi. Like maybe that would be one now. I don't know, but yeah. So I was just
also
curious
does concentrate. Like anyone that's doing trials is going to be on those lobbies at that time. So it crowds, like whatever server you're on, it's going to crowd with just trial server players.
Yeah.
So it would kind of like, spread the load a little bit if it was just like if they got rid of the 2 times multiplayer and you can go on any server at any time and do whatever you want. I feel like that would make it a little easier for people to kind of get higher scores because they're not competing with other players that are strictly trying to be as sweaty as possible.
I think they didn't bank for this level of competition to be swimming in the swamp of their game. Like I know that they've said multiple times. Well, they came out and said like we didn't know. We don't. The people think that there's not enough loot in the queen parts, but like they were like we didn't expect 16 people to be teaming up in every lobby. We figured that it would be at least some contention or like people contesting it. They didn't expect the level of cooperation that's been going on. So you can kind of tell that they're like they set out with their rose-colored glasses and being like, this is how people are going to engage with our game. But then they put these incentive structures in, and now all of a sudden the speedrunning community is just like, how do we break this? How do we break this? So I think they're reacting to that.
Figuring it out as they go. Like they're definitely learning alongside as with us, and they just gotta listen to like what we're saying. I feel like we all have like valid criticisms, and hopefully they hear us because this is the only late game thing that will keep you playing, right? And this is like their lifeline for a 10-year plan.
Yeah,
is focusing on this.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. I mean, what was you had like 3 questions strung there, right? And we answered the last one. The other one was, what was it?
Oh, it was just like what's the acceptable amount of RNG versus like not.
It totally depends on, I think, the level that you're engaging, because the people that I've spoken to that were obsessed with the Cantina grind, it was deeply affecting them how much RNG was in there. But I think everybody else, like people like myself that were competing for Hotshot, just having a grand old time, because I think I understand that they just like placed a template of this trials system over top of the structure of the game that works for the way the main game is played. So I think, they were just expecting that to work. But now, of course, the level of engagement and competition that people have been putting into this is exposing how some of these things don't work. And I know that like to change a bunch of that stuff, that means changing the way that regular people are playing their regular raids for the, trying to get their workbenches installed and stuff. So they got a lot to balance and think about. And like I think I said in one of the last episodes, it's a small part of the community that is doing the obsessive Cantina Legend grind, but I do think that that's a very valuable player base. A lot of those people are content creators, a lot of those people are streamers, and like you do want to cater to them in a manner. You don't want to bend huge to those people. I know that they're, like, I guess I'm not one of the Cantina grinders, but I'm somebody that's like, I think it's really interesting to talk about this and make noise, because I do think that there's some things that need to be addressed. But yeah, I think for most normal players, which is probably more than 99%, the RNG that's in the game is perfectly acceptable, right? Or at least that's what I think.
I do think that the RNG is fine. Like if you say like it gives you that chance to keep replaying the game too. It's like, oh, you know what? Maybe I could just push harder and next time we'll be better. Mm-hmm. Like I enjoy the grind of this game. I enjoy
hit even that slot wheel.
Like resources. Yeah, just going in because like it's a beautiful game that they've made. Like everything is gorgeous. The sound design's fantastic, and it's just like every time I get to spin it, I'm happy. Even if it's just like I am solely focused on this. I maybe even like what we're saying, going back to like removing the multipliers, right? Because that's gonna like kind of scatter all the hardcore trials players into just normal play. And then that means that, if they got like a really good run, they're not solely, it's not like everyone's concentrated in certain lobbies at certain times where, we're trying to do our tick thing and there's another team that's doing it. And now like my thing is ruined.
You don't need to do night raid style. You could do it in normal style.
Yeah. You can kind of spread that out. And like at that point, the RNG does become more of a factor, but it's also kind of like, it can also help you in a certain way. As opposed to like being in a certain lobby and you're still dealing with RNG, like you're doing it at a certain time and you still have to factor that in.
Do you think the condition schedulers is like the biggest problem then?
Oh, For sure. Yeah,
you
they
mean-
should
'Cause it's
definitely have
like
things
that's
going
more of a
often.
problem than like, I got kind of a shitty spawn, or the extract's not in the perfect spot. But it more of like, I literally need to wake up at 3 a.m. to do this
Yeah.
thing because it's the only time. Or
Yeah. So
like
I guess
all of those
overarching.
things, it's all those things layered on top of each other. Because like
Yeah.
when you're like, I have this limited 1 hour window to do this, and now I have to go in and fish for the other things that are like the RNG layers to align, and then like keep backing out, or you do the min-max gamble of I'm going to queue at the last couple of minutes because it means there's no more people spawning into it, and I hope to God that I got the other good things. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
now have to wait hours to get it. So it's like that's the part that on the ones and twos together is not as bad, but when it's like all of them layered together at the same time is where it starts to feel kind of bad.
But you know what's funny is like in regards to the probes, I know that a lot of people are talking about that. The Cantina grinders are talking about the spaceport, and I do think like Embark's got to know they have to be more conscious of these like the S tier available options and make sure that if your trials are probes that week, make sure that the one that's the best is not accessible. But I mean, me and my buddy Dennis did the probes one on first. We did it on Blue Gate, and we're like, oh, that score wasn't that great. And then we did it on Dam and was like, oh, that was much better because there's much more on Dam. And I never wanted to wake up to do the spaceport. I just refused to do that. So we just did our on Dam and we got a decent score, and that was good enough for the week. So I do think that like, yeah, the one on the first season when they removed Hidden Bunker altogether, that was an issue, right? Because some teams got it done in the first few days of the week, and then they pulled it because people were glitching their way into the room, and you weren't supposed to be able to get into the room or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think that's what the issue was.
There was some reason that they removed it from the rotation, and then so that was what actually crushed some people's weeks because they were like, well, that's like 9,600 points that I can't get, and when you're trying to maintain a double promotion bracket or triple promotion or whatever it was, double, because it was only double in the first season. Anyway, yeah, they do have to make sure that they're on top of that, and they know. And I think they've got to be like, let's give them the chance to show that they've thought about it a little bit better this season because they have, especially with the theatrics of number 1, 2, and 3 spot of the leaderboard for Cantina Legend. This last season was a plea to please rework the trial system.
Yeah.
So
I do think that. Oh, sorry. Oh, I was gonna say, like, I do think that there's also a lot of like YouTubers out there that are putting out a lot of doom and gloom of like, oh, this game is broken. Oh, no one's gonna play this, and it's just like they're putting out negativity. This is a brand new game. Like, it's still new. There's still like a lot of growing pains that has to go through, and they're gonna figure it out. It's gonna happen. I don't think that this game is gonna die because like, oh, they have like they forgot to cater to one certain aspect of the game.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like that going on, and it's just like, just give them time. We'll voice our opinions. We'll give them time. Like, they have this game to me is a gold mine, and as long as they listen to their community, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
definitely.
I do think they need to, like you mentioned it in your last podcast too, or it was mentioned about like they definitely need to like make tweaks on like the snitch scanners and stuff like that. For instance, like just making wasps spawned from snitch scanners don't count towards trial points, or whatever the easiest thing there is. Like things like that are just good. Because when I saw the new trials for like, damage freaking the arc or flying arc in the swamp or whatever, I'm like, great, so people are just gonna throw a whole bunch of snitch scanners in the fucking swamp. I'm like,
yep,
sick, that's what I want to do. Or inside spaceport walls. I'm like, great, so instead of just going into Hidden Bunker and throwing all your snitch scanners in Africa, like in the side of the map, now you have to do it in the middle of the map around other people.
Yeah, especially there's on week 3. On week 3, there's wasps in spaceport walls too.
Yeah, so cool. Throw your
snitch
scanners inside the walls.
Is that what the
challenge is? No, like there's a big wall around spaceport. That the like towers are on.
Yeah.
It's like instead of doing it in the outer ring, like in the outer.
Oh, is that what that means?
That's how I'm interpreting.
I interpreted that as
inside
the tower, but that would have said launch tower walls. It says spaceport walls. So yeah, you. Oh,
because spaceport has big walls around it. Like,
I see. Okay, so that's just
it's a silly way of fixing that because, like, yeah, that was a safe route of doing it, right? It's just going off to the corner of the map and just throwing all of your snitch scanners and hoping no one comes over there to like, shoot
Yeah.
you. That's a step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
What's
say it's the
wild?
best mix, but
The
it's a progress.
the act of having to go farm snitch scanners, I know that like some people were like, man, that was such a pain, or even just like farming oil for wolf packs, stuff like that. But it actually
Yeah.
did create a significant amount of engagement, like of people, people playing a lot more matches than they would have.
Mhm.
And some people were actually, they were saying that was the thing that they didn't like, was that they wanted to get the reward. And the only way to do it was just such an expansion of your time commitment. Even though I know some people were just like, man, this is my jam. Like I'm gonna do seven runs in a row getting snitch scanners. Yeah, it does give you a lot of reason to enter a raid, stay online more. But I know that wasn't their primary reason for making the WASP trial. So I'm curious what their thoughts are.
I do think that also brings it breaks up the gameplay loop too. If you're playing the game just normal base game, there's only so many times where you can run in and grab loot and then get out, right? Like that will get tiring after a while.
Yeah.
So it's just like I've thought of it in game where I'm just like, this is almost like I'm fishing. I'm just gonna sit here on top of my rock in Blue Gate and just with my renegade just take pot shots at snitches and have them come over here, and like I'm wrangling at this point. Like I'm playing the game differently, which is fun.
Yep. Well, I mean, cheers. Here goes season 3. We'll see how it ends up. I mean, I feel like we're like an hour 22 on the recording or something, right? So yeah, I think we should probably push towards wrapping up. Is there anything else that you guys want to add before we send it off and see how season 3 goes?
If anything, man, I just want to shout out my homie, if that's cool with y'all.
Yeah.
Shout out my homie, Jetpack Jojo. He's my boy that we were like pushing trials hard towards the end. I owe a lot of my score to him being so dedicated. He was on it more than I was for sure, like with like the planning and like execution. So gotta give him a big shout out. I have a few more other homies like Henchman and Luminato. That's about it though. Like I'm happy. Like I feel like this is a pretty cool talk. Great talking to you. Your Jugs as well, because like you have a whole different insight into the like just the whole game world that like showing a lot of light on stuff that I wouldn't even have thought about, which was really cool hearing.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot to be improved on and a lot they can do as far as like making this an end game kind of progression system for folks that want to engage with it, especially on like a competitive side. There's obviously, like I said, room for improvement, but I think it's interesting too, because as much as people are like, oh, some of these are, the problems for the 1%ers, there's a lot of like trickle down meta stuff that happens in games, like for even the 1%ers. It happens in a bunch of other games where even like the casual dad gamers, they replicate the same strategies or like even some of the attitudes or culture. Like you see it in like World of Warcraft with like retail Mythic Plus like pushing, where like people are trying to like gatekeep certain specs or whatever out of their like dad gamer +4 keys, because they're trying to replicate what these like professional people that literally get paid to play are doing, like +26 keys or some shit. And they're like, nope, sorry, you can't come to my run because I'm trying to do the same comp that these guys are doing. So it's like the same thing with like some of these strats. Like there's always trickle down where like even if it literally doesn't apply to them, there's always going to be people that replicate it. So point being, as much as some of these seem like, oh, these are problems for these people up here in their ivory towers, like it does trickle down to like some of the casual players, because like they start to engage with the game in that way because they try to like dip their foot into like competitive sides and like the min-max side and like look up, guides or people's videos and like, how do I get a better score here? And now I got to do this degenerate thing. So then it does become a little bit more widespread across the game than what people like think in the context of it's just these top 1,000 people, or or the 5,000 heartbroken people that got pushed out or whatever. But to your point, like some of the things you talked about in your last podcast as well, like I know it was talked about where it's like people that like either competed at different times in the week, and one person got 90k points and one person got 150k points, and like the 90k point got promoted and the 150k person got demoted. Like obviously that stuff shouldn't happen. That's kind of weird. Or that it's like optimal to just chill for a while and then just like slingshot triple promo your way into like hot shot rather than trying to hold it for an extended period of time and just have an easier time. Like all of those things obviously still need to be addressed as well. But I don't know. I think it's fun. I think it'll be more of like maybe a chill little bit for the like at least these first couple weeks. I've seen a lot of people that are like either A, they're like burned out, or B, they're just like, I'm just gonna chill for a while, or C, right now at least they're like, wow, there's no reward. Yeah, why the hell I'm even bother this season? I guess I'll see you in season 4. So it'll be interesting to see the changes they add.
Yeah, hopefully next time that I gather here to talk about Trials, there will have been something said by Embark Studios and we can discuss that.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Well, thank you guys for reaching out. I really do appreciate everybody that's like jumping in the comments and having discussions or straight up like crazy arguments. Like it's been a lively comment section. It's been pretty cool. I'll jump in and do episodes whenever I feel like there's cool, interesting things to talk about in regards to the Trials, or even just, I mean, I got another episode coming out where we're just talking about just stories about the regular gameplay. I just love this game and I love talking about it, and thank you guys for sharing some space with me. Yeah,
absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Cheers. Well, see you everybody on the next episode of the Rogues Passage podcast. And, don't die to a leaper like I did yesterday. Stand your ground. See you guys later.